Oh yes, my Straight Talk family, it's just past the time when I should be saying good night to my Straight Talk family in St. Kitts and Nevis, and good night to my Straight Talk family all over the world, because I'm on the World Wide Web, and I reach you in Africa, I reach you in Asia, I reach you in Europe, and I reach you all over North America. So I'm at liberty to say good night. I'm at liberty to say good morning, and I'm at liberty as well to say good afternoon, because one of such greetings is will be applicable to the region in which you now find yourselves. And for the first timers, I want to extend a very special welcome to all of you, and to inform you in the process that Straight Talk is a public service program that facilitates and promotes free expression on all issues of national interests, be they legal, be they environmental, be they technological, be they political, social, and or economic as well. You have a forum to express yourselves freely. And let's, my Straight Talk family, strive to get St. Kitts back to that enviable position of being one of the freest countries in the entire world. On this program, we try to raise the level of national consciousness. We try to raise the level of national discourse by alerting our people to their rights, to their responsibilities, and certainly to their obligations. My name is Ian Patches Liburd, and I give Almighty God thanks for blessing me with yet another opportunity to join you in conversation, my Straight Talk family, on yet another occasion. And I want to, in the process as well, thank the Straight Talk family who continue to share the link. Just remember that when you share the link, we expand, and you expand the program further and wider, farther and wider. I always get mixed up with that word there. My Straight Talk family, I want in the process as well to just to inform you that as your host, I am duty bound to remain an untiring advocate of truthfulness. And I'm always reminded of the words of a favorite hymn of mine, an excerpt which goes like this: we are called to be God's prophets, speaking for the truth and the right, standing firm for godly justice, bringing evil things to light. Let us seek the courage needed, my Straight Talk family. Our high calling to fulfill, and that we may all know, or all may know rather, the blessing of doing of God's will. And for those of you, I always keep overlooking this fact. For those of you who have Alexa at home as well, just say, Alexa, enable skill. Alexa will ask, which skill? And you just say, Massive Vibes Radio. And you are all in tune. The Alexa play Massive Vibe Radio. Then again, if you just on Alexa at home, just say, Alexa, enabled skill. Alexa will ask, which skill rather, and you just say Massive Vibes Radio. Then say, Alexa, play Massive Vibes Radio. And my Straight Talk family, I'm going to start on a very solemn note tonight, in that I learned of the passing of two persons rather. I learned of a former colleague of mine in the broadcast business. I've learned of a former colleague of mine, Andre Magic Man Phipps. I'm sure we all remember Magic. We actually did a stint together on Sugar City Radio at one time as well, and Win FM. I did that Voices program. He was around, and I did Straight Talk on Sugar City. He was around, and I heard of his passing, and we want to extend condolences to his entire family. My Straight Talk friends, and we want to extend, as I said, condolences to his family. I haven't seen Magic for a long time, nonetheless, and this one really caught me. Well, I heard he was ill, nonetheless. Alonso Bridgewater, he too has gone to the great beyond, and I'm still trying to get over it as well. I know, like I said, Bridges was not doing physically as he ought to have been doing, and I am really saddened by his passing, and I wanted to play a tribute to Bridges in this form of a video. My Straight Dog family.
In the name of the St. Kitts and Nevis Olympic Committee and the Commonwealth Games Association, I welcome you all to this milestone celebration. Too many memories of Nevis Street. I was born in Nevis Street over there, but even though I moved to College Street after that, here was the playing ground, cricket, football. I still remember there was the toilet for the school, because that's the Basket Girls School. You have the Basket Boys School down there, there's the Basket Girls School, and a green building there with the toilet there. Serious cricket matches played there, and football.
And yes, my Stray Dog family, we extend condolences to the widow of Bridges Carroll and all his children. He has gone, as I said, to the great beyond. May soul and the soul of all our departed brothers rest in eternal peace. I also want to, as usual, pay a special welcome to my junior brigade. I won't get any excuses for not hailing my junior brigade. Young Dwayne, Tristan, Shamar, Kevin, Handy there in Nevis, and young Rue Costa. How is Rue doing? It's Celeste to break. Jamal in Anguilla, Travis and Travon over there at Ponds Extension. And you met our special lady on Monday, did we? Is it? Yes, on Thursday, beg your pardon. Was it? What day is today? I'm lost with today. On Monday, I might get it mixed up here. You met the special lady on Monday. And as she promised, we will be back for a show. Shortly, I'll tell you some more about that. But my thesis for tonight, my short dissertation tonight, I have titled "A Leader Trapped with the Illusion of Truth." But before we move into our thesis, we normally engage in our observations in review, which are an integral part of Straight Talk. And we do that before we move into our thesis on a regular basis, after which I will include your calls. And this is for the first time in particular. We include your calls and your emails. And if you're so minded, calling, the numbers are on your screens. And they are, as you can see, they are my Straight Talk family. The numbers are on your screens. And our observations and review is a time when we highlight the current issues and do some reflection. We may then ask a few questions in terms of what accomplishments we have made and how has it helped others. That's important. What has changed? What can be expected next? What can be expected next? Beg your pardon. And it's a learning process. On every program, every episode, we try to establish what we have learned as a people. And my first observation tonight, we are going to continue to call out the perpetual habit of Terence Michael Drew, his perpetual habit of lying. And my grandmother always said, to lie, or she would say rather, he lies like when a horse is trotting. And no one in this country lies as much as this man. And I say so, I have to say so, my Straight Talk family, because it irritates each time. And I'm forced to listen to our Prime Minister. And I wish to introduce this man to our fourth Prime Minister. And I want our Prime Minister to meet this man as soon as he gets out of bed tomorrow. So, Mr. Prime Minister, when you get out of bed tomorrow, Godspeed, look in the mirror and you will see this man who is our liar in chief. Dr. July continues to steal the credit that is due to Team Unity and describes his group of average performers in his cabinet as an A-team. He then invents history and spins politically motivated conspiracy theories about his failed administration. He spins those theories on a regular basis, my Straight Talk family. His conspiracy theories are generally designed to resist what I call falsification, either by evidence against them or a lack of evidence for them. And let us, for example, look at our let's just examine the blatant lie I've heard just a few days ago. A blatant lie about our VNR, our Voluntary National Review. And this lie was told just a few days ago on his round table. And I could not let it just pass by. Because the Prime Minister had this to say at his round table. He said this, my Straight Talk family.
With the sustainable island state. That is why when we took office, we were so aggressive with coming up with a national vision. Never before in the history of St. Kitts and Nevis was a voluntary national review done at the United Nations. It was the first time in our history, even though we are 40 years old. We went to the United Nations, we presented it. The main presenter was the Minister of Energy, the Honorable Congress Maynard, of course supported by our mission in New York and the Ministry of Sustainable Development. And I think Pierre Chez was also there. In that, we presented to the world that St. Kitts and Nevis has now put a framework together of how we are going to advance the SDGs and deal with the scourge of climate change. Because we have not had a national plan as to how to deal with the issues of climate change. The way you approach managing any country at this time with climate change upon us cannot be the way it was managed before. And that is why we said we had to come up with this framework. Otherwise, if we don't do that and we don't adapt, we don't have a plan, you know what they say, man without a plan is doomed to fail. And therefore, we made sure that a plan is in place. Now,
my Straight Talk family, I can guarantee the Prime Minister as well that when he wakes up tomorrow morning, God's spear, and he looks in the mirror, he must have mirrors around his house or in his hotel room where he is right now. He will also find, when he looks into that mirror, a man without a plan. My Straight Talk family, at the heart of the United Nations system is one of the 6 main organs that the United Nations Charter, established in 1945, called the Economic and Social Council, or ECOSOC, as it is called. And that's the ECOSOC chamber you can find at in one of the buildings, or one of the buildings over there at the United Nations in New York. And ECOSOC, my Straight Talk family, is the central platform for fostering debate and innovative thinking, forging consensus on ways forward and coordinating efforts to achieve internationally agreed goals, as well as to advance the 3 dimensions of sustainable development, namely economic, social, and environmental development. The Prime Minister, my Straight Talk family, is so dishonest, and I say it so, again, respectfully, but I have to speak the truth. He's so dishonest that after almost 2 years in office, he has still failed to come to grips with the widely accepted concept that government is continuous. My Straight Talk family, the Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights, OHCHR, which was established in December 1993 through UN Resolution 48/141, also details its mandate and has been preparing, since 2020, country-specific documents to assist countries that have signed up for a voluntary national review. It started in 2020. In 2021, my Straight Talk family, St. Kitts Nevis was among the 44 countries that signed up to conduct a voluntary national review, or VNR, in 2022. And you can glean from the content of the documents on your screen. As you can glean from the letter on your screen dated 20th August 2021. I was humbled, and I'm still humbled to have started the process. See that letter on your screen to my then colleague Ambassador Colin from Botswana and President of ECOSOC. And his letter is on the extreme right, accommodating our requests. His letter dated 2021. So why? Why is July continuing to behave the way he's behaving? And it would be remiss of me as well, my Straight Talk family, if I did not recognize the hard work of the then third secretary at the mission in New York, Denola Laplace, the former peace in sustainable development as well, Elrita. I'm slipping the last name in all my Straight Talk family. And these are the facts about the St. Kitts Nevis Voluntary National Review presentation in 2022. Government change in August 2022. That's why he got to present the VNR, or he was there rather, and the Minister of Public Infrastructure, the SOCA engineer, presented the VNR. So let's debunk that big lie from Terence Michael July. And I don't know when he's going to become matured and give Jack his jacket. My second observation tonight relates to the issue of water, which is still a vexing one in St. Kitts in particular. And some people would like me to remain silent in the face of lacking transparency in all areas, I should add. Housing, energy, social assistance, and water, to name a few. Let's deal with the latter, my Straight Talk family, water. And I heard an apologist who claims to be a scientist, who shall be nameless. He listens to the program, and I know he would know who I'm referring to. Chatting nonsense on the radio. And no doubt looking for a favor or a job from this incompetent Labour administration. And in the process, he has reduced himself to a beggar. And I would never encourage any one of you, my Straight Talk family, to beg, because begging arouses scorn. But let's deal with the Cairn water issue. And July said this some time ago. My Straight Talk family, he made this comment some time ago.
I was informed, that the last piece of equipment to drive the pump to pump the water from the earth is here, should be cleared tomorrow, and by weekend they should be doing what you call the 72-hour test, where they just pump water. A lot of water is going to be pumped. So what we are doing, we're going to try to get the water trucks to collect the water, not to waste it, because the water is already tested and has met World Health Organization standard of what is potable water. Despite the noise you hear people making noise, had 7 years and did nothing to resolve the water. Now we are really trying to resolve the water. Instead, they try to support, they're trying to bring all sorts of dark clouds over such a wonderful and beautiful project to resolve people's problem. So I say, ignore the noise and the detractors and let us get this going. So we are in the last stages of completing that project in Cairn. Then the hope is to go to Shadwell and see if we can fix that one.
My Straight Talk family, I am going to ask Dr. July one more time to look in the mirror when he wakes in the morning, God's spear, and he would see the dark cloud hanging over Terence Michael July. He said the water was tested and met WHO standards. If that is so, then he could have just moved the dark cloud and tell the country if it is being arranged to test the water. And why haven't you, Prime Minister, as the Minister of Health as well, ensured that there was collaboration on this water testing issue with the Bureau of Standards? Why, Dr. July, is the question we continue to ask. And my straight dog family, you said the hope is then to go to Shadwell and fix that well, that the same be drilled. And it was the Bureau of Standards that found the arsenic contamination in Shadwell too. That well, as we speak, is still kept. And we always bring you the evidence. And we are asking you, is this the reason why the Bureau of Standards is being excluded? We understand and we know. Because I was the minister back then, and the Water Services Department challenged the findings of the Bureau of Standards. And if I wasn't the minister, then perhaps we might have been burying people from St. Peter's and surrounding areas having consumed that contaminated water. But the country needs answers, Dr. July, because water is life. And we'll get to the answers in a few moments, my Straight Talk family. But we'll move to our third observation. And our final observation it is for tonight. And it has to do with the guns and drugs that are so prevalent in this country, my Straight Dog family. And by extension, these guns and drugs are prevalent throughout the Caribbean region. The current chair of the RSS Council is our Prime Minister, Dr. July. And in response to a question, beg your pardon, he informed the media of the steps being taken to deal with surveillance and other matters and try to nip in the bud these issues as it relates to the prevalence of guns, in particular, my Straight Dog family in this region and in this country. His response was this, my Straight Dog family.
With respect to the Security Council, there are things that I can speak of, which I speak broadly of, the specifics of which we don't reveal because it's for security reasons. So those meetings are closed meetings where the press cannot enter. But what we looked at are the threats. The threats, cybersecurity has become the obvious threats we know, drugs and guns. We look at that threat and we see the guns and drugs just coming through the Caribbean. If you look at all the Caribbean countries, you realize that we are dealing with the issues of drugs and, for example, Grenada. You saw what happened to the tourists in Grenada. This is unheard of in Grenada. So areas that even were in a better situation than us traditionally are now seeing this surge. So we looked at that risk. And a number of measures on the regional level have been put in place, of course, with us partnering with our international partners, the US, Canadians, the British, Europeans, and so forth. We have formed a vetting center to strengthen, more training for our people, more surveillance in the region to deal with the scourge of the guns and the drugs. We have also brought it down to even the...
My Straight Talk family, those comments evoke memories of many people, memories of our own coastline surveillance, or our own coastline surveillance vessels. Remember, both ran aground sometime, I think it was in 2014 or somewhere thereabout. Remember, our two Coast Guard vessels ran aground, the Ardent and the cutter Stalwart. They both ran aground. But we have not heard much things or many things about the Ardent and the Stalwart. So we asked the question tonight, was the Ardent and Stalwart decommissioned? Because Straight Talk understand that these vessels were taken to a boatyard down in the countryside for safe shelter years ago, the SKMW boatyard, I think it's called, for safe shelter from hurricane. And they were never launched. And we asked the question, where are or were the engines for Ardent, or were the engines, I should ask the question, for Ardent and Stalwart disposed? And if so, how were they disposed? I recall a famous retired major from the Douglas Army told the nation this. I recall. He told the nation this just before elections in 2015. This famous major and my friend told the nation this, my Straight Talk family. I'll get you this information that he provided. He said this to the nation.
Stalwart is on dry dock here and not overseas like in the past. Stalwart is functioning and well looked after by the government to continue looking after the people of the region. It is the only one out of nearly 6 of them that came here in the early 80s. Stalwart is the only boat out of 6 of them throughout the region that is floating, that is running, up and running. Great, and I must commend those guys from the Coast Guard. Great, man. And Ardent has no engine problem. It has on. Sorry. Ardent has a little engine problem, like all the other boats like it across the region. But the USA had to replace those because they came here with a fault. But it can still sail with what engine is available. The US gave this government two boats. They are up and running and on the seas. If all the political unity pirates think they can breach the border, let them take the high seas and they will see where barely go out there.
Well, my Straight Dog family, the Unity Pirates, are they the ones bringing the guns and the drugs? But we asked the question, were these boats adequate for the protection of our coastline? We asked the question, or were they sole commando? This is to the commander of the forces now. Were these boats sold? And if so, for how much? To whom? And were the proceeds placed into the St. Kitts Nevis Coast Guard Foreign Military Financing Fund? Here's where I'm going, my Straight Talk family, and you may wonder why. The FMF is the Foreign Military Financing Program that provides grants and loans to help countries purchase weapons and defense equipment produced in the United States. I heard him say that the United States were going to give us 2 boats, as well as acquiring defense services and military training. But right now, my Straight Talk family, Straight Talk has confirmed that of the 6 small boats in the St. Kitts Nevis Coast Guard fleet, only one is operational, my Straight Talk family. So I've come to tell you, our borders or our coastline are not secured. And these are the issues that July, as Minister of National Security and now the chairman of the RSS Council, must address as the scourge of guns and drugs will remain prevalent in our land. And those are my observations in review for tonight, my Straight Talk family. As I move right into my thesis, as I intimated earlier, I have titled A Leader Trapped Within the Illusion, my Straight Talk family, within the illusion of truth. And as a matter of fact, before I move into that, I should have also informed that the former commissioner of police did say this about Stalwart and some drones as well. Before I move right into that, I'll give you total information.
Coast Guard cutter Stalwart, that is was purchased since I think it's 1981 or 1983, just when they obtained independence, almost 35 years old. And presently, I know the Ministry of National Security is seeking to purchase two boats from overseas shortly. And presently, we're also investing in drones so we can survey our coastline and to be current with who all traveling on our borders. So soon you will see the improvement in our coastline.
We're still waiting. The commissioner has gone. But getting back to our thesis, my Straight Talk family, a leader trapped within the illusion of truth, I must bring to your attention that here in St. Kitts Nevis, citizens and residents alike have seen a drastic decline of trust in government and in politicians, especially those who are leading the country at this moment in time. History has taught us, for example, that no one should be trusted with power unless it's limited in scope and tenure of the period during which such power is held. Hence, a good reason for democracies to separate powers between the executive, legislative, and judicial branches of government. Elections in St. Kitts Nevis are held under a representative system, like in most Commonwealth countries. And I strongly believe that public servants should be prosecuted. Hear me, public servants should be prosecuted if found to be corrupt. Democratic constitutions are premised on distrust of the powerful. And as I mentioned constitution, that brings me to my last program. I misspoke, and I should correct that. When I spoke about the term limits and about simple majority, for us to get term limits for the Prime Minister, we must amend the Constitution, and that needs a 2/3 majority of the elected representatives. So I should put that in. I did in fact misspoke, and I apologize for that. But getting back to the thesis, it is said that government is continuous. But from my own personal experience, I believe that government is a work in progress. And we live in a world that is filled with complexity. We live in a world that's filled with uncertainty and unpredictability. And as the world faces complex problems such as climate change, the AI revolution, inequality and armed conflict, competent and honest leaders and effective government are needed more than ever. The illusion of which I speak tonight is a distortion of the senses of our Prime Minister, which has revealed how his mind organizes and interprets sensory stimulation, which is the activation of one or more of the senses. And we know the 5 senses, which include taste, smell, vision, hearing, and touch. The 5 basic human senses. But although illusions distort the human perception of reality, they are generally shared by most people. How did you know that? Misleading information is transmitted to his brains. Yes, July's brain, I believe, that causes him, as sometimes leading us but causes him to perceive things differently from reality. And I told you about Dr. Goebbels. I think it was my last program, the prominent Nazi propagandist, beg your pardon, who once stated, if you repeat a lie often enough, people will believe it. And you will even come to believe it yourself. And that seems to be the dilemma of our Prime Minister. And my straight dog family, this quote underscores the power of repetition in shaping perceptions and beliefs. I did mention as well that psychologists refer to this occurrence as the illusion of truth effect. In other words, when information is repeated frequently, it tends to be perceived as more valid regardless of its accuracy. So we got to be careful, because Dr. July has developed this political propaganda technique that, in a sense, he believes that constantly repeating lies can transform falsehoods into seemingly accepted truths. So we as a straight dog family have to be cautious. We must be wary. We have to engage in critical thinking. And we also have to always do our fact-checking of Terence Michael July. Both are necessary tools to combat the spread of misinformation by this Jew administration, my straight dog family. July obviously believes that repetition makes a statement true, regardless of whether it is true or not. But as long as we understand this effect, it can help us all to avoid falling for his propaganda, my straight dog family. Repeat a lie often enough and it becomes the truth is a law of propaganda often attributed to the Nazi, as I said, Goebbels, Joseph Goebbels. So getting back to the water, my straight dog family, how do we determine whether a claim of poor quality water found in the cairn is true or false? That's a fair question, don't you think? Naturally, one might assume we use our existing base of knowledge, and it is common knowledge that the water found in the last well drilled by Bede still has not been put into the public system because of its arsenic contamination. So, it is not unfair to compare the current claim about the water found in the cairn to the available evidence about Bede. It's not unfair, it cannot be. And I showed you the Shadwell 2 well which is capped. So no rational person should accept any statement. My straight dog family, no rational person should accept any statement made by the Prime Minister or the so-called engineer Conris or the manager water engineer Cromwell about the quality as true without first holding it up to the light and doing a critical examination of it. It's been done in the darkness, my straight dog family. Unfortunately, my straight dog family, I say unfortunately, humans are really rational beings, and here in St. Kitts Nevis, our politics unfortunately override our health. And we can come to that conclusion in this case of the cairn water. But I'm so disappointed in the manager and water engineer Cromwell, whom I have an overabundance of respect for. But when he confirmed today that it was Bede who did the testing, I was disappointed. And I asked myself, why was this fact hidden for so many months? This is what the manager and water engineer said today about the water in cairn. He said this.
You mentioned that you test the water quality of the well in cairn. Yes.
Was that done by the Bureau of Standards here in St. Kitts, the testing?
Not as yet.
Not as yet.
No.
But the ones in Shadwell were done by the Bureau of Standards?
I think so.
Yeah.
He thinks so. His colleague who was there said yes. My Straight Dog family, the manager and water engineer went on to speak about being. And he said this as well.
People have been talking about the quality of the water. Is it going to be all left up to BEAD to do the testing? And if there's an independent company that's going to test, would that results be made public so the public can get that confidence in drinking that water when that well is commissioned? And that's it for now, man. Thanks.
Thank you. Before, because I had a question in relation to in conjunction with the last question that the caller asked, is there going to be independent testing, the Bureau of Standards? Because from knowledge, persons have said that it was the Bureaus of Standard, if it's correct, that found that the arsenic level at the Shadwell 2 pump had been too high.
Okay.
And so why isn't the Bureau of Standards again
hold it, we have a call
being tested, being used to test the water quality now, and not the company doing its own self-check?
So you can address the two callers. We have a call, so you can address the two questions after. Go ahead, caller.
Yes, good morning.
And my Straight Dog family, truth be told, I was a little bit, as I said, I was disappointed, as I said, that this question advanced to Cromwell. His answer
you mentioned that you test
to the question,
the water quality of the
caused me great concern, as I said. No independent testing thus far, yet they are on a race, a 100-yard dash to connect the water to the public system. No testing done, independent testing done, my Straight Dog family. And he said this as well.
We realize that the water department are pursuing various methods in terms of giving us water. There's the drilling, the surface collection, I guess, and now it seems to a push to desalination. Have the department established?
I don't think that's the one I wanted to play, my Straight Dog family, and forgive me for that, but I'll get back to it. But the fact is, no independent testing has been done thus far, and they are connecting the well to the public system. This leader called July has introduced the politics of lies and the erosion of the rule of law from the moment he took office. Living in St. Kitts Nevis under Dr. July these days, for many, it causes dizziness. To many, it causes headaches, especially when you jog your memory and think about the productive years under the Team Unity administration. Life under this July government means that whatever they tell you today, it will all change by tomorrow. Whatever you remember, it never happened like that. What July is doing is not as it seems, or it was Team Unity's fault. Terrence July came to power thanks to lies, half-truths, and the subsequent implosion of Team Unity. The patriotic people who care about the future of St. Kitts Nevis hope that he will not be able to continue for much longer as Prime Minister, or else he would destroy the entire fabric of our beloved Federation. 20 months after his election victory, by default, I may add, he has not delivered to the people, but he has delivered to himself, my straight talk family, and that's a fact.
My thing is, I believe in do it later. The first election and you win, and you go back in. I feel that you should.
That may be a point.
That you were able to deliver for people before you deliver for yourself. But this is my point of view.
Delivered for himself and not for the people. But in the wake of the pandemic, my straight dog family, and the team Unity's successful management at the beginning of this pandemic, with the implementation of its first or life first strategy and vaccination campaign, recall, Terence Michael July began his fractured relationship with the truth that he peddles to this day. His nonsense argument about the opening of our economy is heartless. Doctors, we are told, are trained to always do everything possible to save a life. Not July. Because he's saying here, my straight dog family, I think it's hard to believe what I heard when I heard him say this, my straight dog family.
Because the country was shut down by the previous administration for political reasons. When I got in that meeting right here at the Marriott Hotel with the healthcare leadership team, which included the then CMO, or the now CMO, she's still CMO, and I asked for the data to justify to me why we should keep restrictions and keep turning away ships and people who wanted to come to St. Kitts when the rest of the OECS was open for business. The data actually suggested that we could have opened up the country since before. So we lost tens of millions of dollars because they would not open up the country. Had people on restriction wearing masks when they had to wear no masks. Controlling people, that is egregious. You can't control people when there is no reason to control people. Infringing on people's constitutional and human rights for political reasons. That was a travesty committed by...
A travesty committed just now. St. Kitts, Nevis, according to Dr. July, lost millions. But St. Kitts, Nevis may have lost money, according to July. But the other countries he referred to in the OECS and beyond lost lives, Dr. Joe. They lost lives. And look at the ICLAC region, Latin America and the Caribbean. As a matter of fact, St. Kitts and Nevis recorded the lowest amount of deaths in the entire world as a result of COVID-19. Albeit 46 deaths too many. Look at the data, my straight dog family. And Joe is talking about opening or not opening soon enough and losing millions. He's heartless. The problem, my straight dog family, with July is he simply takes liberties with truth and facts. He is not interested in reality. He's only interested in making his claims stick. He manipulates everything to suit his cause, to hide that he's up to no good. Up to no good, my straight dog family. He obscures, my straight dog family, he obscures the facts as points of reference. And by so doing, undermines the political culture of our democracy here in St. Kitts that depends on the distinction between what is true and what is false. Listen to his lies about the solar farm, for example, my straight dog family. He said this, about the solar farm.
Say to you that we have about between half a billion and $1 billion of investment so far. The solar plant that they used to speak of in the last administration, that was going nowhere. Just talk. When we reaching all sorts of things. We have renegotiated that, restructured that, and that is set to be launched very soon. It's at the point of no return, so I speak of it. That is an $85 million investment.
My Straight Talk family is gone up $5 million, according to him. A contract was signed. The ground was broken. But he tried his hanky-panky because his soca engineer wanted to bring back Speed Tech Energy Limited to do solar. But the government of Taiwan told them otherwise. But unlike July, believe it or not, his advisor was honest to tell us that there was a contract signed, and he said nothing was done. But his advisor outed his lie.
Questions I ask, if we are going to have to import both of those aspects, it would cost at least an additional $125 million. However, Jamie, let's deal with the question of why we couldn't even just shut it down and say to locals, or find out if we have it here, and then if we have it here, just shut it down. Because we were in such a space or move forward on the project.
So what you're saying is that it will cost more to get out of the contract than it is going forward.
Yes, okay. It would.
Okay.
And I believe that should be said to the people, because that is the plain and simple fact where that is concerned. However, I will also say that it is a good project based on our own studies, calling in the expertise from right in the Caribbean to assess. It's a good project. They feel that it was properly assessed, and the costing was within the range of what it would cost anyway to do that.
Yes. His advisor, Appleton, don't think he drinks anymore. But at least he had the gall, the temerity project, and the assessment that they brought in from Sikri and elsewhere told them this. But Jew don't seem to understand, July, that if you lie, you must know the truth. July, trapped within the illusion of truth. And that's my story tonight, and I am not going to change it. I will therefore open the lines and entertain your calls and your emails. And when I do so, which will be any moment now, I anticipate that you will respect others. And of course, in order to respect others, you must first respect yourself. Let us try to be fair to all concerned. Let us try to build goodwill and better friendships. Let us ensure that the things we say will be beneficial to all concerned. And in the process of saying and doing those things, let us also strive to build a kinder, gentler St. Kitts and Nevis. It's now 9:07. If you have just joined us, my Straight Talk family, again, my thesis, a leader trapped within the illusion of the truth. Let's go to the lines at 9:07 and say...
Good night.
Wow, good night. The Bible man, you got the opening...
Yeah, the Bible
tonight.
man again.
How about thou tonight, sir?
The Bible man again, Mr. Patrick.
Give us some good scriptural verses in the intervention.
I am going to read from Galatians chapter 6, verse 7. Be not deceived. God is not mocked, Mr. Patrick.
Not at all.
Whatsoever man soweth,
That shall he reap.
he shall also reap. Number 8. For he that soweth to the flesh shall reap corruption. Let me read it again. For he that soweth to the flesh shall reap corruption, and he that soweth to the Spirit shall reap everlasting life. That is, I want to say tonight that God is not gonna what people saw and what the man reap. So you know how to worry your head, Mr. Pattis. And when it comes down to grass top, it's going to be no middle ground. When it comes down to the edges, when people come down, people going to say that people walk up upon them and their own handwriting going to hit them and they ain't going to regain it. And so, Mr. Pattins, I am not going no further than if God, me, that's the people, here people, me that check me time, people got all up to 7 and 8 minutes, and that's still going on. So, see you, Mr. Pattins. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much for your spiritual intervention, as usual, my Street Talk family. Make certain that my overseas line is up and running. I'll get to that, my Straight Talk family. I'll also try to juggle with the emails as well. And this email reads, Mr. Patches, good to hear from you every Monday and Thursday night here in Nevis. I must say to you that you have a vast array of listeners here in Nevis. And when friends meet friends the next day, you hear comments like these. Boy, you listened to Patches last night, etc., etc. However, on Monday night, a number of us were fully engrossed in Straight Talk and found it was a very comprehensive and intriguing as you delineated and outlined the political history with some politicians that took place in the Federation between prime ministers and their deputies. Some of us are hearing these amazing things for the first time. Nevertheless, you said our rattle division stake bite Harris, he bite Douglas, and now he bite Sean, and undoubtedly, well, we want to tell you, next time, don't forget to tell us that he only bite, but he sting as well. He sting his own leader, Vance Amory, to possess his leadership of the CCM. He stung Miss Hazel Williams Brandy out of the CCM, reads this email. And my Straight Talk family, if you have just joined us at 9:11, if you are joining me for the first time, and hail my sisters and brothers over there in Nevis, how about those at the security at NASPA? I had a good friend there, haven't heard or seen her for a long time, a good mutual friend. But let's go back to the lines. It's 9:12. Caller, you live. Hello, caller.
Yeah. Good evening, Dr. Ian Patches Liburd.
Just say servant Ian. And that's
you could say what you like.
Yes.
I'm giving you flowers, man.
Oh, my.
Patches, good evening to everybody who listening to this show. As usual, there are so many issues in our federation that Patches, I hardly have time to drink water. I concentrate on these issues all day long.
I believe you.
Because everybody supposed to hear what is going on in our country.
Yes, yes.
And I can say every day, thank God for Ian Patches Liburd, the only talk show that has 100% facts of what is going on. For those who are not living here in the Federation, you all can tune into Patches Straight Talk, and you all will get to know what is going on. Now let me go to Dr. July. Patches, that man is so loyal. Remember, he said at an interview that as soon as the election passed, the last election gone, he said he was bombarded with phone calls from. Go ahead, talk.
Investors. I'm sorry. I just was preempting.
That's okay, man. I'm listening to you, man. It's a two-way conversation.
Yeah. I'm preempting what I'm gonna say. Investors, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
I was bombarded with phone calls from investors. So they were waiting until the government changed to come and invest. Well, where are they? Not even half, never mind one. Where are the load of investors? So that is the reason why he gone where he gone right now and said that he gone there to see, look at potential investors to come to the Federation to help them with the geothermal. Patches, I don't know if you know, but I know. And I know that you know. And many persons know. Where he gone up in Dubai. Dubai has one of the tallest hotels in the world. And they call it, what's it kind of thing named? I forget anyway. But there is where a lot of millionaires and those people who carry the money into Dubai, because they know Dubai haven't signed up any peace treaty agreement or no extradition agreement with anybody, so they can go there and do what they want. Well, the hotel named the Pentagon. They go there to relax and honeymoon. So he want to fool people now. He said that he gone there go look potential investors for the geothermal, but he cannot fool sensible people, clear conscience people who are aware and follow him from the time he get in there. He tell him pure lies and lies. This is the last one before I go, and I will come back. His special advisor played the game on him. Nah, thread the needle. Nancy, thread the needle. Because when that game was being played, the hands, your left hand cross over your right hand, and when the person to the left, you leg over one hand, you go up to the front again. So, beg and borrow, expose him with the lies them. Thank you, Patches. I'll be back.
Thank you very much for your intervention. And in respect of investors, he did in fact say this. He's got about $1 billion investment coming. This is what he said.
The solar plant is 85 million. The hospital is about 60 million. The desal plant is 14 million. The housing, which I did not speak of, is about at least 36 million. That is going to launch in earnest. And the geothermal is going to be 37 million. So just add up, and I'm talking US, add up all of them. See how many. And if you convert that to US, Hotel Indigo, which is close to 100. So all of these are in the, but some major ones that will start because they're at the point of commencing as I speak. And of course, we have the smaller one that will be taking Panari Stadium, the new traffic building that is going on. Panari Stadium is a $5 million project. I think traffic housing is a 1 point something to $2 million. St. Peter's Road, the number of millions again. Those are the local type of projects and the roads we'll be doing. And then the other ones are the bigger. So we'll have smaller projects while the bigger projects are taking over the next.
With regards to
Let's go back to the lines, my Straight Dog family. You know, it's very interesting when you hear somebody saying cost a million and something or 20 million and something. Very interesting. But caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Yes, Patrick, the President. Good evening to you.
A pleasant evening, my dear. And how are you tonight?
I'm fine. What about you?
I am peaceful. I can see those dimples. Now I recognize the voice.
Yeah, you know.
Yes.
What I can't find out, I would like to know what are July what they take away for. Because, you know, people take away when they do work. But I don't see them, they do no work to take away. And when you see you take up things, what you aim put down, what you call that, stealing. Because they did not put it there, they make it there, and they ain't work and they take it. I want to know what kind of health minister he be. Because every time he talk about open up the border and shut down the border. First they say, he closed down the border too quick. When you look, he say, they open it up too late, it should have been opened up before. As a health minister, when you look going again, you say, the building, the garbage bin, so lovely, nice garbage bin that you can put in your garbage, shut down, no flyer, nothing at to disturb you. He said that they was needed at the time when they bring them. That's number 2. You go downtown to use the decent bathroom them. But Team Unity had people down there cleaning up to when the tourists then come and they go in, people are cleaning the toilet. When they come out, they go in, go check and what's that. Because when I go down, I want to do anything easy, I just go. And all of a sudden now, he said he a health minister. And all the good toilet them downtown board up and got portable toilet up and downtown down there. What kind of health minister he be? He going over and sees, he going to look things, they must send back all when nobody wants in a think it's here for Ari. Why they are with the garbage bin? Huh?
True.
Sending back all them things that just man they just going over. But it's a practice for all of them now because the next one who was there, he went away, he begged the cable box them, they never good. The laptop them for the children them, they never good. Everything was bad. And now he come again and go do the same thing. Bringing things wanna good. So while we are with the garbage bin, everything they nobody want. He bring them here for a way. Look at the 15 machine them he say and you one machine. Yeah. And when you look now, they don't use. What kind of man that we have? And he telling so many lies. I wonder if he just sleep when night and come because I believe some of them lie there, just wake him up out of his sleep. And you could see he don't sleep because he on top the phone with the DJ at 3 o'clock a morning. So you could see he cannot sleep. And now he gone touring now. If you're going to work for the country, what are you working with your transgender up and down behind you? Go and work for the country and leave the transgender home and go and go work for us. I really don't know. When I heard him, I really don't listen to the radio. I just go out because I know every time I hear that, hear him, I know his lawyer coming. So I really can't take no more lawyer. I do not know. And the media house them, when they say no what the lawyer, if you hear how them are peddle, the lawyer them, you will say, well, definitely, it is true. All of them are lawyers. All of them are like I wouldn't have about the one from Nevis. He is sing hard for his supper and he doing it in grand style. That's it. I think you have a pleasant night to hear me. Anything else, I will be back.
Thank you very much for your contribution as usual. And yes, his lies get you giddy, you know. It gives you headaches, you know, and you listen to him, and you ought to listen to him as a prime minister to get us stay up to date with what's happening in the country. But man, it's tough for me. I can imagine for many of you as well. Mr. Liburd, Monday night you were trying to remember these things, a passage of scripture, and the name of the program from Grenada. We have all sinned and come short of the glory of God. Also the name of the program, The Narrative, out of Grenada, with the lady Callista Farrier, who interviewed Sean pertaining to his absence for 3 months from the cabinet. Thank you. That's what Straight Talk is all about, you know. Each one teach one, and getting me. Yes, that one slipped me. Yes, we have all come short to glory. Let's go back to the lines. Caller, you are live. My overseas lines are having some difficulty. I don't know why this always happens, but
well, I am not overseas, Mr. Liburd. How you do?
I am peaceful, my brother. I haven't heard you for some time, but always good to hear you.
Well, I lost my mouth for a while, you know.
You lost your mouth?
With doctor went to my mouth.
You don't know how to respond to him, eh? It's hard. It's hard. It gets you giddy. You know, when you hear me, it gets you giddy, you know.
You're talking about our good Prime Minister. You know, I've been dealing with health tonight. I like to deal with the health because that's his specialty. He makes up things, or imagines things. I've heard him say more than once that during the time that he says that, okay, the hospital roof needs repairing. You've heard him say that more than once. And he said that the previous administration did nothing of the sort to repair the hospital roof. Do you remember that at any time?
Yes.
Right. But you would know as a Minister of Agriculture, Infrastructure, that the roof was repaired during the time that Unity was in there.
That's true.
Evelyn Construction or Evelyn Roof people, Evelyn Construction did the roof repairs during the time that Unity was there.
Yes.
So don't understand stupidness that this Jew man talking about. But roofs go bad from time to time, and he knows that. Roofs don't last forever. But anyhow, he is forever talking about a smart hospital, and a building can't be a smart building. A building is just walls and concrete and piping and electricals and that kind of thing. It takes more to make a hospital smart than concrete. It takes people, it takes equipment, and the operational system of the whole hospital that makes it smart.
True.
That is why I suppose we get up and say we go to the States because the hospitals up there have better equipment and that kind of thing than we have down here. And maybe the doctors are more specialized. So we might get up and say they have smart hospitals up there. We can do the same thing here by getting the necessary expertise and that sort of thing and equipment. But anyhow, there was a friend of mine. Oh, let me go step back. A few days ago, there was a lady on the radio. She called in to complain about the hospital, our JNF. And she was saying that she had got a sick person at home and she needed help from the hospital to get that sick person from her home to the hospital. And she called for the ambulance. Only to be told that there's no ambulance at the JNF. The ambulance break down and they have no means of getting anybody to the hospital. They said the only ambulance you could use is the one from Pogson Hospital. And it's somebody in town, eh?
Mm-hmm.
And we're talking about efficiency in health and all kind of thing. And we can you operate an ambulance service? So part of the smart hospital system, it seems as though we need more than one ambulance at the JNF for starters to try and make that a little bit smart. The other thing too is that with these all dialysis machines and that kind of thing, these days in the big cities, people, some persons, yes, you get your dialysis done by going to the hospital, but they now have portable dialysis machines which they give you to take home, so you can do your dialysis at home. And I know there's a guy who comes up from England periodically, and he brings his dialysis machine from England. And there was a friend of mine, a male friend of mine, went up to Canada recently, and they found he had some kidney problems and that kind of thing. They set him up, they put in the plug in his chest or whatever, went to a few sittings in the hospital, and they provided him with a machine, a small machine, so he can stay at home and spend his 4 hours 3 times a week doing his own dialysis.
Mm-hmm.
So if we want to be that efficient and start wasting people's time sitting around the hospital, why don't we get some dialysis machines that people can take home and use to be more efficient and in use of less of the hospital staff time and that kind of thing? But you don't think about that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
You're only thinking about painting a hospital and doing all kind of stupidness.
Painting the fire.
Yes. He says, oh man, we spent the Unity didn't paint the fire, so we had to paint it up. We upgraded the hospital, we put out a coat of paint. He said, do it, his cable TV do it. We make it so that he had something to do with it, the old scab that he is. But there are a lot of things that can be done. But he's so busy concentrating and traveling all over the world. He had the wife honeymooning at the government's expense. So he don't have time to study health in this place.
Sure.
So health going to the dogs. Go up there, some of the beds don't have hard. You can get sheets to put in the bed, pillowcases short, all kind of things short up there. And he up and down the world, gallivanting, he and the wife. For us. You find something for Mr. Jew to do, see, because he's not doing a good job where he is. Find a work thing. You can find a work for him.
I've heard the term for a long time, gallivanting.
But that's what, what else you think he's doing? You see any results that he's doing something otherwise?
Nothing at all.
He's gallivanting.
Yes, my brother.
And you can find a work. What a fellow apes used to do? You remember apes?
Of course.
Well, get used to apes dead now, so you could take over the apes' work for a long time. He might be better than being Prime Minister of this country. Have a good night, bye-bye.
Have a good night as well, my dear brother. That's very interesting perspective. And those, I do apologize for my overseas callers. Please try that number now. I wasn't aware it was down, but please try that number now. It's 646-829-6672. It is functioning. I just got this message. It is functioning. So for those who want to connect via that number, 646-829-6672 is the number, so you can participate in the program. Boy, Mark, just shut your mouth. Read this email. Everybody knows that you are a terrible bad spender. Timothy found out late, but we all in Nevis know you can't spend our taxpayers' money. You should be ashamed of yourself to talk about what Timothy said. You never balance a Nevis budget, yet always a deficit year after year. So you grudge and obsessed with Harris because he can, and rightly so, boast of the surpluses he was able to achieve because of great prudent fiscal management. But spending on the hospital project, bad spending on geothermal, bad spending on Bede water project, bad spending on the Mondo track, bad spending on the Newcastle fire and police station, and I can go on, but never mind. One day you will surely have to give a full account of of your bad spelling. Harris, how you going? Go away. I read this email. Let's go back to the lines. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Hi, Patrick. How are you?
I am peaceful. Yourself?
I'm good. The overseas line not working.
Well, it was down. It should be up now. It should be up.
No,
now.
I just I do 5 times and it's not working.
And you just did?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's not. I just did it 5 times and it's not working. Anyway, I called to tell you about the water in Keon. To know if the water is good, let Joe and his cabinet, including the speaker, go up with a glass and let them pump out the water. And each one of them have glass. Dougie and Mr. Rogers go down the road, go block the traffic, go direct traffic. And let them drink the water up there. When they pump it out, if they end there, the water good. That is how they test the water. That is how they test the water. Because he said that the water good, so let he and his cabinet, including the speaker, let it go up and line up with the glass. And when they pump out the water, give them a glass a piece. Don't give me shower, just go down direct traffic. If they ain't drop down there, the water good. That's all I have to say.
Mantis, eh? Okay. Sounds interesting. Yes, my straight dog family, that's one way out. Yes, my overseas line, that lady is correct. We do apologize for that. And there's something wrong with my overseas line. What it is, it's a good question. I'll see if I can get it up. It was just ringing, but I do apologize for that. For my overseas listeners who are unable to connect. And again, we do apologize for that. It's now 9:34, my straight dog family. And if you have just joined me, tonight we, as our thesis, we are discussing my title thesis, a leader who has an illusion with the truth, a leader who, as I said, has an illusion with the truth, or rather trapped, that's the exact title, trapped within the illusion of the truth. And we examine this thesis from within the concept of the performance or lack thereof of our current leader, who, as my grandmother would say, lies like when a horse is trotting. And when we look at what is going on, not just in St. Kitts, but around the world, I can say, and when we do our tests, our analysis of the performance of this leader, citizens and residents alike have seen a drastic decline of trust in government and politicians. But let's go to the lines. I want to thank this holder. I'll get back to that. I want to thank you for holding. Caller, you're live.
Yeah, Patrice. Patrice, the water system over at Keon, where the water engineer was interviewed, and he cannot come straight out and give the answer.
True. I was disappointed.
Well, yeah, he wanted to be the culprit and still the judge for himself. How could that be? You cannot go and test something like what with water, digging water well to see if water good. And those kind of people there are what you call get paid to bury and sell the conscience. So I don't too surprised with them because I know the government started wrong and they have stopped and went back up and start over again. And remember, he buy the election. So therefore, he win by default. Now let me go to the parliament now. Now, Patrice, if you give me a job, you assign me to a job, let's say to come and clean up your yard every day. And when I come up in your town where you live, or Bodwa, instead of I clean up your yard, I throw garbage in your yard, mango skin, fig skin, cane peeling, and all kind of trash in your yard. That means that I am not working to the work that you give me to do. I'm doing something different, but I'm collecting the money from you every month. That means, how you work out that? How you recall that payment? Thief, stealing, or take up? Which one?
All of them.
Okay, right. Well, we have a snake, a rattlesnake. That is what you call a grafted snake, a rattlesnake and a concander snake in one, in Parliament. And he is wearing the hat of the leader of opposition, but he is not performing as any opposition. He betrayed the people of Nevis, and he also betrayed the people of St. Kitts, elected people. Now, he's supposed to be over there on the opposition bench and oppose all what Dr. Lying July is doing, because everything you doing is a lie. Period. Lie. Because we all know his big talk. The former administration haven't done anything in 7 years. He's supposed to oppose him with that. Oppose him, and instead of that, he's sitting in bed with them, lying in bed with them and sitting around the table with them, and so therefore he cannot say nothing wrong because he's an opportunist and a betrayal. Look what he used to be with the guy from Nevis who was the Attorney General. Can't remember his name now.
Patrice Nesbitt.
That's right. Patrice Nesbitt. He gonna sink it. Go in bed with Douglas and Labour. He not representing you people up here in Nevis. That is what he used to say. Look where he is now. And all of a sudden he don't remember the words that put together to say, well then he want fair share for Nevis. Fair share. He can't remember the letters to spell the words. Because he's Judas in the people of Nevis. And he's supposed to pay back all the money that he getting to be a member of opposition in Parliament because he's not working. And I believe there is something in the law that says if you're not working, if you're not doing the work properly, you cannot collect the pay. So therefore, if you collect the pay, you're working, you're thieving the money, and you need to pay back. Patrice, thank you very much for the time tonight. You hear?
Thank you for your contribution as well tonight. And I really apologize to my overseas callers who I know are trying to get in, but what the hell is wrong with that line tonight? And we checked it before we got on, but I do apologize and forgive me for that. But again, if you have joined me, we still looking at our thesis tonight, a leader trapped within the illusion of truth. And as it relates to the water, though, and the questions that were posed to the manager and water engineer, Cromwell Williams, I was so disappointed that he's trying to say to the country, or he said to the country, that they have not contacted the Bureau of Standards. His inspector of quality said this on another platform, I think it was last week. He had this to say. My straight out family.
What challenges have you encountered?
Well, still to perform certain aspects of the job. Like I said, we refurbish in the lab. So that is one major challenge. We have to rely heavily on outside, like for instance the Bureau of Standards or the health the environment help to do certain stuff for us that we could have done instantly and probably get the results instantly. So just waiting at that time sometimes to get back results could be critical. You know, so if we were able to perform certain tests on our own instantly, then we could have them to verify that what we found is or is not.
They rely on the Bureau of Standards. But for some reason, the manager water engineer said otherwise.
People have been talking about the quality of the water. Is it going to be all left up to BEAD to do the testing? And if there's an independent company that's going to test, would that results be made public so the public can get that confidence in drinking that water when that well is commissioned? And that's it for now, man. Thanks.
Thank you. Before, because I had a question in relation to the last, in conjunction with the last question that the caller asked, is there going to be independent testing, the Bureau of Standards? Because from knowledge, persons have said that it was the Bureaus of Standard, if it's correct, that found that the arsenic level at the Shadwell 2 pump had been too high.
Okay.
And so why isn't the Bureau of Standards again
hold that. We have a call
being
on the
tested,
line.
being used to test the water quality now, and not the company doing its own self-check?
So you can address the two callers.
Company doing its own self-check. I like that term there. Be it policing it itself. Caller, I thank you for holding your live. Hello, caller.
Yes, that is a good night. Okay. I would like to know if somebody gives this snake up and needs something to eat, to talk nonsense. Because when you listen to him, you cannot believe he was a man in the government down here. So I want to tell somebody give him something to eat. That is his doctorate, what he say he got. Because the most of things you want to talk, you really want to know if that man is serious. He ain't serious at all. And he only going on so because Harris said that he cannot spend money. And I do not know what he get upset for. Because he know it is true. He cannot spend. And I would like to know if you all cannot get a law to make him pay back all of the money that he received. He ain't working for us. He ain't working for nobody. Everything the lawyer said, he agreed with the lawyer. What as we always say and say, both our feather flock together because he just give them people up there some lawyer and he look like them then are not lawyer from truth, them are running with it. So I will really like him to pay back the money, what he ain't working for. Just because the man says he cannot spend money, he gets upset. And he know it is true. Then, Patrick, you have a blessed night to hear me?
Have a blessed night as well, to my dear. And this email, we didn't get a chance, Patches, to listen to On the Mark with regards to water in Keon. No, my dear, I did not get a chance. Someone informed me about it today, and I find it very interesting that the snake, Mark Brantley, would speak about water in Keon. I guess he has to support his master, July, because his public debt is over $500 million in Nevis. How the hell he's gonna reconcile that debt over there in Nevis? There's nothing happening in Nevis, not one project, just like in St. Kitts. In Nevis it was. So I don't know what else he can do to kickstart his economy. I want to associate myself with the comments of Dr. Thelma Brown Phillip, reads this email. She eloquently articulated on Facebook that proud men destroyed team unity, but all is not lost. She continued, PLP women and PAM women should come together and be unified. This is a great proposition. We all should consider and encourage PAM and PLP to work together to remove the wicked and incompetent government in order to save the Federation, reads this email. What are they reviewing? What national review has he talking about? St. Kitts is already over the cliff. We are not going over the cliff. We are already there. That man Jew do not care what happens to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. While these people's sons get gun shot and die, Jew don't care about who crying. He don't care who doing the shooting, nor who getting the shots. 2 whole years, Jew is there doing what? To continue fool the fools in St. Kitts Nevis? Remember, he said an election can be bought. He spoke about the amount of passports Tim sold, but refused to speak about the amount he already sold. St. Kitts is in hell already, and some people are comfortable with it, especially his brother. Is Tim the one to bring back St. Kitts Nevis economy? When that snake with the colored eyes in Nevis thinking we're doing good because he and his family are pocketing Nevis money, reads this email. July said people did nothing to improve the water in Cairn. But Jew, it was that bad. I think Jew is a cursed man, because from the time Jew turned PM, everything in St. Kitts flop. Therefore, St. Kitts seems to follow the head prime minister with the same curse trend. We need to get St. Kitts Nevis from under this cursed government led by Jew. We need Jesus more than ever, reads this other email. Good night, Patches, reads this email. It has been brought to my attention that the hospital right now is still without an operating sterilizing machine, and it is alleged that the Ross University is doing the duty of sterilizing all the surgical instruments and tools to keep the operating theatre afloat at JNF. It is a shame that our main hospital has to resort to such measures while our July consistently comes on the airwaves declaring the same old things he has done and nothing new to report, like the purchase of a new smart sterilizing machine, since everything in his book is smart. Breaking grounds at Conwy playing field is not a priority, when from his mouth he said health is the first order and we will have rough times ahead. Patches, please help us to understand July rhetoric. That's a Himalayan task, a difficult task, I should say, my Straight Talk family. But at 9:51, as we wind down tonight's program in my Straight Talk family, my overseas line not functioning. Some of my video clips, I didn't get them right. I do apologize for that. We had to upgrade tonight, but we'll get those things sorted out come Monday. Today, so I'm mixing up the days in all my Straight Dog family. But if you joined us late, tonight we looked at our thesis. We considered our thesis tonight, my Straight Dog family, a leader trapped within the illusion of truth. And as we wind down tonight's programming and perhaps take two more calls if you are so minded to call. And again, I apologize to my overseas callers. But when we look at our leaders in cabinet as we speak, it is rather difficult as citizens to understand why this drastic decline of trust has come about in government and politicians. My Straight Talk family, as we reflect on our earlier discussion, it is said that government is continuous. But from my own personal experience, I advance the view earlier that government is a work in progress. And we live in a world that is filled with complexity. We live in a world that's filled with uncertainty. We live in a world that's filled with unpredictability. And as the world faces complex problems such as climate change, the artificial intelligence revolution, inequality and armed conflict, competent and honest leaders and effective government are needed more than ever. And the illusion that I spoke about tonight is that it's the distortion of the senses of our Prime Minister, and which has revealed how his mind organizes and interprets what is called sensory stimulation, which is the activation of one or more of those 5 basic human senses. And my Straight Talk family, we looked at the claim of poor quality water found in Keon and try to establish whether it's true or false. And we are not saying that it is true, and we are not saying that it is false, because we have not been provided with the facts. It's so cagey. So cagey, my Straight Talk family. If you tested water, tell the country who tested the water. Well, we found out today it was Bede who did their own test, and the manager and water engineer was inaccurate, and he misled the country, because Bede has only drilled 2 wells in St. Kitts. 2 wells situated at Shadwell, and one of those wells is still capped as we speak. So Bede is not its own water, as the manager and water engineer tried to suggest today on the program. Bede, in all those years in St. Kitts, only did 2 wells. And don't mind, whatever the snake Brantley said in Nevis, don't pay him no mind. Because the 2 wells that Bede drilled were between 2016 and 2018. That well you see on your screen that's capped, drilled in 2018. The other well that Bede drilled as well, my Straight Talk family, are some 500,000 gallons per day, I think it was. I can get that information up for you before we sign off tonight. And they, in fact, drilled a well, Shadwell 1, which was drilled in that same area of Shadwell, as I mentioned, Shadwell 1. And that produced some 500,000 gallons of water that we put online. And I was the Minister of Public Infrastructure. And this is what was reported back in 2018, I think it was.
My name is Charles Parris of the Water Service, St. Kitts Water Services Department. And today we are here at Shadwell 1, roughly 350 gallons per minute, pumping 500,000 gallons per day to the Olives reservoirs. Before the on-stream of this well, we were taking water from the aquifer with two wells pumping to Olives. Now with this one, we can send the water from here straight.
Knowledge, and that's what we are doing. And it is common knowledge, like I said, that the water found in the last well drilled by Bede still has not been put into the public system. has not, underlined, has not been put into the public system. So Bede's performance as it comes to, or as it relates to drilling for water in St. Kitts is only extends to the 2 wells it's drilled at Shadwell and that 1 well it has drilled in Keon. And we are not saying the water is good or whether the water is bad. We need to know, because the testing must be done. The Bureau of Standards tested 28 wells for the Water Services Department all around the country. So isn't it strange, my Straight Talk family, that the 29th well drilled by Bede, the information or the Bureau of Standards have not been engaged to go take their sample and test the well or the water themselves. The politicians are the one making the decisions. But unfortunately, human beings, some are really rational beings, or humans are really rational beings at times. And here in St. Kitts, our politics under July are overriding our health. But my Straight Talk family, no independent testing thus far, and they are connecting the well to the public system. And July tries to own as well the solar farm that was already commissioned but stopped by July when they got into office. The solar farm was already committed. Ground was broken. A job fair was done. And they got into office and unceremoniously stopped the solar farm. We could have been paying less for electricity already. The electricity that is being subsidized by the government. But they unceremoniously stopped the solar farm for reasons that are obvious. It was commissioned under Team Unity. And this is sad, my Straight Talk family. Sad, sad, sad. But through it all, we have some people who talk the truth, even in the Jew administration. And although he told a lie about the solar farm, his advisor told the truth. My Straight Talk family. He's told this lie. He said this lie about the solar farm.
I say to you that we have about $500 million, between $500 million and $1 billion of investment so far. The solar plant that they used to speak of in the last administration, that was going nowhere. The stop, when we reach in all sorts of things. We have renegotiated that, restructured that, and that is set to be launched very soon. It's at the point of no return, so I speak of it. That is an $85 million investment.
But his advisor said this in response to this Jamie question.
The issue that people are having is the fact that we know that the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party had criticized this project significantly, the solar farm project, leading up to the general election. Okay? So we're hearing a lot of talk about renegotiation, and we're hearing that conversation. But the major issue that people had with the project before the election is that it was not locally owned. So
yes, that was the problem. That's the nonsense was peddled by the Syrian. But Edinburgh was at least man enough to provide some semblance of truth to that project and its implementation. He said this.
Questions I ask, if we are going to have to import both of those aspects, it would cost at least an additional $125 million. However, Jamie, let's deal with the question of why we couldn't even just shut it down and say to locals, or find out if we have it here, and then if we have it here, just shut it down. Because we were in such a space, well, I said we because the country was, in terms of the contract that would have cost us an enormous amount of money to get out of it. It would have cost us an enormous amount of money and litigation. And so even if we had people ready to move.
So then, Austin, okay, go ahead.
I'm just saying, even if we had people ready to move, which I don't believe we do, but even if we had people ready to move on such a project, if they already had a contract to do it and they put that matter in the court, you can't move forward on the project.
So what you're saying is that it will cost more to get out of the contract than it is going forward.
Yes, it would.
Okay.
And I believe that should be said to the people, because that is the plain and simple fact where that is concerned. However, I will also say that it is a good project based on our own studies, calling in the expertise from right in the Caribbean to assess. It's a good project. They feel like it was properly assessed, and the costing was within the range of what it would cost anyway to do that.
Held up a good project for 2 years, which could have brought down the cost of electricity. A 36 megawatt solar farm. I started that project, in early negotiations, and I know the project is a good project. I knew that, Appleton. Good night, Patches reads this email. How come we have so much problem with water here on St. Kitts, when in Nevis, according to Brantley, they don't have water issues? Don't believe anything Brantley says. Patches, the Bible said that the Satan is the father of lies. Dr. Drew, the son of Satan, beg your pardon. Every time this prime minister opens his mouth, it's always a bunch of lies, one after another. This prime minister has a curse on this country for all of the lies he tells. I want to tell this son of Satan that lies will be uncovered, only the truth will stand. Even his advisors and people in the ministries are exposing his lies. He said at his last round table that the water in Keon was tested and fit for consumption. But the water engineer said that there was no independent testing. How could Dr. Drew rely on the people who drilled the well to do the testing? The government needs to do their own independent testing. And that's a fair position, my Straight Dog family. And why not use that as our point of departure for tonight? Because BEAD cannot police itself or test its own water. And I want to say to you that the Shadwell 2 well, the water was taken, a sample was taken to the Bureau of Standards. And it is my understanding that when they got to the Bureau of Standards, the water was looking so crystal clear that it created suspicion amongst the technical staff there at the Bureau of Standards. And they went and did their own testing. And the rest is history. So the fact that BEAD has not, or the water has not been, or the Water Services Department has not engaged the Bureau of Standards leaves us with a lot of questions to be answered. You realize the Minister of Public Infrastructure, the so-called engineer, has gone quiet on the quality test. Only July is speaking. But in time, we will know, my Straight Dog family, whether the water is good or it's bad. If it's good, tell us who tested the water, when, and it's good. If it's bad, tell us. That's all we want to know. Why are you hiding? And you're telling us we don't have a right to ask questions? We have a right as a country, as citizens, to ask questions. Questions, my Straight Dog family. But no independent testing was done, and that's a fact. No independent testing was done, and that's a fact. But this leader called July has introduced the politics of lies and the erosion of the rule of law from the moment he took office. Living in St. Kitts Nevis under Dr. July these days cause dizziness and headaches for so many people. Especially when you jog your memory and think about the productive years.
If we are going to have to import both of those aspects, it would cost at least an additional
patriotic people who care about the future of St. Kitts Nevis.
However, Jamie,
let us pray.
Let's deal with the
hope
question
that July
why
will not be able to continue for much longer.
Shut it down
as Prime Minister.
And say to locals or find out if
or
we
else
have
he would
it,
destroy the entire federation.
And then if we have it here, just shut it down.
20 months after this election victory,
such a space
by default.
Well, I said we because the country
he has not delivered to the people.
In terms of the country,
but he has delivered
that would have cost
to himself.
An enormous
all he talks about the country was open too late, and we lost millions of dollars. But we did not lose the lives like those other countries he referred to. My Straight Dog family, we had the lowest deaths in the world, 46 deaths too many. But the problem with July is he simply takes liberties with truth and facts. He's not interested in reality. He's only interested in making claims that he thinks would stick. He manipulates everything to suit his cause, to hide that he is up to no good, my Straight Dog family. He obscures the facts as points of reference, and by so doing undermines the political culture of our democracy that depends on the distinction between what is true and what is false. My Straight Dog family, if repetition was the only thing that influenced what we believe, then we would be in trouble. But thank God it is not. We live in a world where facts matter and should matter. And once we keep that stance, then we will keep this leader trapped with the illusion of truth. That's my story tonight, my Straight Dog family, and I'm not going to change it. I want to thank Almighty God for guiding our conversation tonight. And as always, I want to thank you, the many listeners, those who call, and those who send emails. I apologize for my overseas line. But remember, all of you, the emailers, the callers, the listeners, you are the ones who make Straight Talk. And for that reason, I say a big, big thank you. I am Ian Patches Liburd, and God's Spear. We will connect on Monday for another edition of Straight Talk. Until that time, be good to yourselves and to all whom you meet. And remember, my Straight Talk family, that whatever your mind conceives, that you will achieve. But first of all, you just got to believe. So when you wake in the morning, thank God for the morning light. Thank Him for taking you through the night. And my Straight Talk family, keep moving on. Bye-bye. Until we connect on Monday. Have yourselves a wonderful weekend.